Don't exit it. But I want to tell you, of all the things in your background, I'm disappointed that none of them have anything to do with Mario
You want
or
to know
any
why?
level of Nintendo.
Huh. You know why? Because we're back with another episode of I Can Do This All Day. I am Dan, the part-time Avenger. That is Mark, the resident Jedi.
Hello there. So today, we finally saw a Mario movie that I think was worth seeing. After what we put you through in our last Mario-filled episode, the cult classic 1990s John Leguizamo fueled Dennis Hopper, Bob Hoskins Mario Brothers movie. Both of us took the time this past weekend and sat in a room with a bunch of people and saw the new and updated Illumination Super Mario Brothers movie. And I'm excited to talk about it. Dan, how do you feel?
I'm good to talk about it. I love a little bit of nostalgia. And you know what? Without showing my hand, this movie had plenty of it.
Did
So I'm
I show
down.
my hand? Are you saying that I did foreshadowing?
I think so.
Oh,
I think so. But every good movie does some foreshadowing,
oh,
apparently.
it does. Every good after credit scene does some foreshadowing.
Speaking of the after credits, let's talk about the pre-credits. Where did you see this movie?
I waited until almost the day before we were going to go to buy tickets because we took my 2-year-old to this. Like his first movie, we had a backpack full of snacks and he was going to sit there and do his best. Right. We did a couple dry runs and my wife was fully prepared to be like, listen, you can sit here, but if he wants to leave, I'm going to take him out and bring him back in and whatever. So my wife was a rock star and fully prepared and mommed up, right? The mom utility belt and backpack set up. And I thought we were going to get like a full empty theater for a 10 a.m. showing. And I go on to buy the tickets the day before and the damn thing filled up with a summer camp. So I had last minute pickup on the aisle seats at the good old reliable Marcus in Orland Park.
Yeah, well, I had my entire family with me too. I went on a Friday on opening weekend, and yeah, we were all set to go. The boys were excited. The day before, I was saying like, "Hey, you know what we're gonna go see tomorrow?" And my little one's like, "Super Mario," and I'm like, "Yep, that's right, buddy. We're gonna go see it." And packed theater, packed theater. I don't normally like to sit in like the first 2 rows, but the good thing about these seats now, at least the ones over by me, because of their they have the easy lounge seats. Every seat is good. Like you don't have to worry about being like cross-eyed when you're looking up at the movie theater screen like back in the day. It's you can sit wherever and it's pretty reasonable of a view. Some better than others, but pretty good all across.
So you're
the
rocking
board.
the Dream Lounger?
Yeah, of course.
Nice.
Always
nice.
do.
Yeah, I prepped the little guy. We got him to say Mario, bought him all of the like toys that came out for the movie so he could identify characters. Like did our best to prep him for because like, do you expect a 2-year-old to last the whole movie? He did pretty good. But we went to a 10:40 a.m. the Saturday before.
You might have been okay, even if you go to like an evening show, you might just like pass out, like just start taking him to movies. He'll be fine.
He made it about halfway before he got wiggly. I wish I would have got there after the credits. Because after every credit, he'd be like, all done, and try and leave. And he'd be like, another one. It was really cute. He's adorable. But
that's funny.
Yeah, he's used to YouTube where it's just like over, bye.
Yeah. What about so going into it, so you had a lot of people. Did you have anyone cosplay or anything like that?
No, it was an early show, and when we got there, most people were already there. It was a bunch of families with younger kids. Like it was that crowd. But yeah, no cosplay.
Gotcha.
Did you have cosplay? Did you go to like the Universal ones, or where'd you get?
No,
okay,
just across the street from me. But I was curious about it because on like Instagram, TikTok, I've saw like a whole bunch of people like, what movie are you gonna see? And then they're all dressed up in, like Mario gear. And one of them was really funny where it's like it's dressed up as the princess, Mario, and like Bowser, Yoshi, or something like that. And she's like, 3 for John Wick. So like that's pretty funny. But yeah, so packed theater. It was a good time. The boys were all set. We had our popcorn. We had our own little secret candy boxes that we packed before the movie theater because I didn't want to shell out another $20 for popcorn and candy. So yeah,
Did
good
you
time.
get the special Mario popcorn bucket?
Nah.
Did
I only
they
do
have
that
them at
stuff
your
for Marvel.
theater?
Just for Marvel, I do that stuff.
So there's that. I don't know if you know this, but they made like a metal tin. Like I think AMC sells them. I don't know who does, but they made a metal tin like question mark
Oh, really?
pie that apparently were sold out in some theaters before the movie released,
Oh, I
and they're
bet.
flipping them on eBay for like $40.
Jeez. I know that like they did that for some of the Marvel ones. They released them before the movie actually
Yeah,
came out. So makes sense. Nintendo, man, they
hot commodity.
made a lot of money off of this movie.
I really hope they do, and they do more movies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're going to now. I mean, it has the biggest release in the US for I think this year for for that type of movie, I think. But
Well, it's
I could
only
be wrong.
April.
It's Nintendo.
It's only April though.
Yeah, but still, for the year. Took out Marvel, took out Ant-Man. So
I mean, Ant-Man relatively small.
so is Mario. So is Mario.
Not after
But
mushrooms. Oh,
let's go into like the expectations with the movie. So as you're watching the previews, anything going on, any preconceived notions as you're thinking about Nintendo and its potential fatal movie that might be watching?
As a lifelong Nintendo connoisseur, I have probably taken in every form of, especially like when it was really hot in my youth, right? All of the cartoons, all the way back to the Captain Lou Albano Super Mario Brothers Super Show. I don't know if you remember that.
Of course.
But they used the theme song to it in this, which was
They did.
awesome. But I was going in expecting like just I was ready for it to be bad because I don't remember any stuff Nintendo produced being good. Like I'm all for Easter eggs and enjoying, but I saw the cast list and like Chris Pratt, I was one of those people like, fucking really? I shouldn't cuss. This is like a kid's movie one. But I was just like, really? Do we have to Chris Pratt this? And Charlie Day. Right. I was like, John Leguizamo is still alive. Let's go.
He's boycotting this movie.
Well,
Did you hear about
you
that?
know why he's boycotting it?
Representation.
That's it.
Which they did kind of, as I'm looking down this list, there's a little bit of a white across the board, but
it's a very pale film. Yeah.
They've got some soul in there though too. I mean,
just because they got Keegan Michael Key,
and you've got Kevin Michael Richardson, he's in there as well
for 5 seconds.
Doesn't matter.
10 lines.
He's still there.
I don't know. I agree with John Leguizamo, especially when it comes to Seth Rogen.
That was one thing I wasn't super keen on was him as Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
I would have loved it if freaking Vin Diesel was Donkey Kong. That would just been hilarious to me.
And yeah, you needed like a big beefy dude to be Donkey Kong. Also,
anybody
Cranky Kong needed to be somebody other than Fred Armisen.
That was, you know what? I was actually okay with Fred Armisen because he just plays like a good cranky dude.
But there's so many more people you could have got. Like rattle it
off.
I'm just like, Oh,
many
there's
of
so
them.
many cranky old actors that you could have
Is
got. But
Ed Asner
overall,
still alive? Probably not.
what?
Ed Asner.
I mean, yeah. I mean, so many of them that I would have picked are probably dead, right? Like Walter Matthau's dead. Um, I feel like Kevin Pollak could have done a good voice job with it though. Like as an
Hmm.
old angry guy. Oh, I feel like you could have got. I mean, what better place to pull in any voice talent whatsoever? That's not a big name. I mean, dude, they could have gotten, and I use most famous alumni to do a better job than Fred Armisen did.
Dan Castellaneta. That's right.
I mean, you got to agree that they could have done better. I mean, bring in Hank Azaria, let him do his thing, and you got an old cranky Kong.
I guess. And Hank Azaria I do like, but I'm fine with everyone on that list with the exception of Seth Rogen. And even Seth Rogen, he did an okay job as Donkey Kong. He was fine. It's just I would have enjoyed someone different. I'm not a huge Seth Rogen fan.
I mean, so if you think about Cranky Kong, you think about old actors. I mean, think about actors in their 80s, right? Harrison Ford, Morgan Freeman, Al Pacino, Chuck Norris,
Chuck Norris.
Anthony Hopkins, Jack Nicholson. You could have done so much better.
They would not have done this movie. You know who they
Christopher
could have
Lloyd.
gotten though? Who will do anything for the money? Christopher Lloyd. Robert De Niro. He would have been a good Cranky Kong.
Christopher Walken.
He's busy with TV, man. De Niro will do any movie.
Ian
He'll do anything.
McKellen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could you got would so what if they would have went Australian with the Kongs and pulled Paul Hogan out of mothballs for Cranky
he's
Kong?
Dying or dead.
Is he?
He's not in good shape.
Oh. Well, he was born in 1939. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well,
Robert
I
Redford.
mean, I love
Chris
me some
Christopherson.
Crocodile Dundee, but he's not in good shape right now.
That's sad. We'll have to do. We'll queue up the Crocodile Dundee reviews. But
so
that would have been that would to me was worse. The Cranky and Donkey Kong worst castings than Chris Pratt, who didn't get all Chris Pratty in the role, and I was okay with him, especially when they didn't decide to do the very stereotypical Italian Mario, which worked very well. What I was happy about.
Yeah, I liked how they did that at the beginning of the movie where everyone was just like giving him shit for the accents and everything. It was like, oh, okay, so it's funny. It's funny that they do that, and it makes sense as to why they cast Chris Pratt. And all the outrage I thought was like, oh, I feel better about this casting. I'm good to go.
Well,
I have no problems.
And I don't know if you read this, but they also did all of the fans solid by getting the actual traditional voice actor for Mario. He did the dad and the guy that was dressed like the OG Mario character who did the woohoo and stuff like that. But they got the guy and gave him a good amount of speaking lines in the movie.
Yeah. And that's I read that there was a bunch of people like campaigning for him after Chris Pratt got the role. Like, no, it should be him because as a voice actor, he's been doing voice acting forever and he deserves that type of role. And I get it. I understand where they're coming from, but that voice actor is not going to pull butts into seats. There are people out there that probably just thought, oh, cool, Chris Pratt, Mario. They've never even heard of like Super Mario, or if they did, they were like not fans. I was like, oh, I'll go see Chris Pratt.
I don't know anybody who doesn't know who Mario is.
Because you're a Nintendo fan. That's why. There's a lot of people out there. I'm not saying that they aren't living under a rock, but yeah, it's out there.
Thanks for giving me that.
Yeah.
Favorite casting of the entire cast? Did you have anybody that you were just like, this is perfect?
There's only one that I thought was the best, and that was Anya Taylor-Joy. She cannot miss. She has been in so many good roles in the past 5 years. She is just on the spot, on fire, great voice acting, great presence. Her tone of her voice is regal and just Princess Peach. That's what I thought. And you know who it reminded me of? Is it actually, and my wife, it reminded me of Sarah Michelle Gellar. They have a very similar tone of voice. And yeah, but I thought she was great. She was fantastic. She was, playful in the role, but serious in the role too, to be a princess.
I just love Jack Black.
That was good too. That was good.
I was also like, how is that going to work? And it just worked. The whole movie, every scene, every song, which we'll get to, it was just there.
Yeah. That's the obvious pick, I think, is Jack Black, because he's kind of the scene stealer, right? But if you were to close your eyes and listen to the people,
oh yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
you're talking about Pitch Perfect. I'm talking about the tenacious domination of Jack Black.
This was a role that I bet he just enjoyed so much, because he could be like a silly mofo and just sing his heart out and just be goofy.
I don't know how many interviews you saw, but he cosplayed every interview. And the suit he got for the premiere had like the Bowser spikes on it. Like Jack Black owned this much. Yeah. He seemed to enjoy this role much more than his cameo on The Mandalorian. Spoilers.
Yeah. I thought that cameo was fine. A lot of people are giving shit for that, but I'm okay with it.
It was the curly mustache and the mustaches that got me.
I think, I don't think they had a problem with Jack Black. I think they had a problem with Lizzo.
Oh,
spoiler
no comment. Alert. No comment.
They're in The Mandalorian. So maybe one day we'll cover that, because we're almost to the end of that season, but maybe. But yeah, other than that, I was fine with casting. I think the one thing that I was really happy about, so I saw Sebastian Maniscalco was in the cast, and he was Spike, the former boss. But I was so happy that he just wasn't in like a lead role as, Sebastian Maniscalco. He's coming out with a movie that he is playing himself as Sebastian Maniscalco, and it's just flat out Italian, stereotypical type of comedy, which that's what he's known for, which is great. But I'm just glad that wasn't the case in this movie.
Did you get the Spike reference?
I don't know. Maybe not. What is the reference?
It's a super deep Nintendo reference. That technically the first like there was the Mario Brothers arcade game, and then there was a game called Wrecking Crew that had a very similarly designed character.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it was a game reference.
That's what it was. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry. Didn't know you had that deep cut action.
No, I didn't, like, I knew of the game. I don't know. I guess I just wasn't like, oh, okay. But yeah.
There was so many good Easter eggs in this movie.
Keep in mind too. So for me with Nintendo, I didn't have that many games. I typically would do the whole borrow, and I didn't have games that I could swap for, really. It was just kids that were nice enough to let me borrow the game, and then I would return it after the fact.
So you got the old ones. Here, Daniel, borrow this one.
Yeah, it was. I never really had new games per se, but I occasionally I had enough to keep me occupied if there was nothing else to do.
What was your personal collection looking like?
Oh, all right. So you obviously Super Mario Brothers.
OG.
Kung Fu. Yeah, the first
Kung Fu is amazing. That music just rings in your head. Dun, 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 dun.
Kicking, like little people on the screen and people throwing knives at you. Bubble Bobble was another one. There's a
classic.
basketball game called Hoops that I played. The Guardian Legend. If you've ever heard of the Guardian Legend, sweet game. Sweet game.
Awesome soundtrack to the
Yeah, it was
Guardian
pretty
Legend. One of the
Sweet.
best NES soundtracks.
And Astonix was another one that I had. It was a pretty cool, like, side scroller type of Greek mythology type of thing. Adventures of Bayou Billy.
Bayou Billy.
That game was so hard. So
It
hard.
was, you know what the hardest game was though? The original, like Metal Gear.
I never played it.
Similar
Never played
graphics to Bayou Billy. Couldn't get past the first level.
It was I didn't like the strategy. I liked action. I wanted the action. So any type of RPG or tactical type of game, not mine. Not my type.
That's why you like the Guardian Legend.
Guardian Legend was cool, but I will say, for all the Nintendo nerds out there, did you know the code to just do the aerial scenes?
Not off the top of my head.
Oh my god, yes. TGL. Instead of doing like the side scroller, like different map stuff,
Yeah.
everything was in your ship. And so you would just, as you beat a level, you would get the guns and the weapons and upgrade that way. So you could play the whole game without having to do the side scrolling tedious stuff. All the action in the ship, pretty cool.
That was the best part of that game.
But what about you? What about for your Nintendo stuff?
Oh, dude, I had a fairly reputable collection that sadly I ended up parting out, and now am, like slowly re-snagging everything now and then. But like the
are
OG
you?
Nintendo game, shout out Mario 2, best Mario on regular Nintendo.
That's my
Mostly-
favorite game, but I never owned it.
Well, dude, you know that was not originally designed as a Mario game.
Yeah.
The US release at least. So Mario 2, like all the Marios, but mostly Mario 2, Maniac Mansion. Don't know if you heard of it. It's a LucasArts game. They made like a really weird TV show. It was super great. They made like a follow-up game. It's called like The Day of the Tentacle or something like that. But yeah, Maniac Mansion was a cool RPG where you had to like, it was like the click and grab this, find this.
That's why I never played it, because it was an RPG.
Yeah, it was originally like a PC game. So it was a sweet game. It was a nice port. I remember Kung Fu, that game, a lot of hours there. Like Track and Field 2, I had the power pad.
That
which
was fun.
Which was definitely an interesting thing. But I just so many OG Nintendo games. Punch Out.
Mike Tyson's Punch Out was a good one.
Yes. Like remembering how to attack all of those different people is just, it's like useless information. The OG Ninja Turtles game, the first one,
So hard. So
hard.
difficult.
Like just getting past the water level
Yeah.
was like an accomplishment. Konami code be damned, because it didn't matter.
Did you ever watch Contra? When speaking of Konami code,
I was not a big
Contra.
Contra fan. I'm not a big
Loved it.
side scroller guy. I'm more of a like RPG person. The
Okay.
original Zelda, like so hard. But they gave you the map that you just never used as a kid because you didn't put 2 and 2 together when you were like 8.
Yeah. So yeah, we talked a lot about like our Nintendo collections. Let's talk about the Nintendo-ish stuff of this movie. So like we talked about the first Super Mario Brothers, where I made the joke about like, yep, the first 5 minutes is the only time you get the Super Mario Brothers theme,
Yeah.
and that's the best 5 minutes of the movie because that's all that you get that resembles Super Mario.
Yeah.
From beginning to end, this was just chock full of Nintendo, Mario, nostalgia, music, everything.
I mean, they referenced, I was just thinking of like games they referenced. The pizza place was the Punch Out cafe or whatever. On the wall was all the pictures of old games. There's a Donkey Kong arcade game. When you went into Mario's bedroom, like he had an NES and he was playing Clue Clue Land. Like there was just so many Nintendo references. And then they go super deep cut just into Mario references. And I couldn't think of a Mario game they didn't reference. Maybe like Sunshine, but I don't know. That's a GameCube game.
Yeah,
But
there was a lot. I mean, I'm not a huge Nintendo fan, but I have played my fair share and I'm aware of the different Nintendo games. But I thought it was really cool that they even had like the whole Luigi's Mansion
yeah,
game and the reference and everything. I was like, holy shit, they must not be banking for a sequel because they are putting everything into this particular game, or I'm sorry, this particular movie.
but they didn't close the door on any of those secondary Mario properties. But they did so many things, right? Like, so they hit like they got all the normal characters. They used the normal power-ups. They used suits or power-ups from so many different Mario games, right? Like Mario 3D World, they used Mario 3 stuff. Like they used everything. And then they did I loved the fact that they used again the rap song from Super Mario Brothers Super Show. Definitely just was I thought that was just for the commercial, and they put the commercial or the pre into the movie, and it was great. But them grabbing all of those references was so awesome into all the different Mario games. You mentioned Luigi's Mansion. They had the little blue, like really weird flame character, which was from Super Mario Galaxy. They did Mario in like the real world, which was from Super Mario Odyssey, something like that happened. They used the way they used the different Koopas and like different characters was great. The ones that died and came back, you're like, I totally remember that.
Did they do a Dr. Mario reference in this?
Um,
I don't remember if they did.
I don't think so.
Well, there we go. They got some for the sequel.
I mean,
Mario.
they have something else for the sequel too. Certain dinosaurs.
Oh yeah. True.
But the plot, even through all of the references, was so simple and straightforward that it just kind of worked for me. I was worried that they were going to get too Easter eggy and not take you on a journey. And the way they split up Mario and Luigi got them to do a few different things. The only plot hole for me was why were the Kongs the only ones to have carts?
Yeah, right. It was interesting.
That made no sense. But I loved the select your own cart, like in the game, and all the variations and stuff like that all worked for me. But the whole why and the Rainbow Road reference was like so many drunken nights of DUI cart. Like
TUI cart. I remember some of those college days where I would just pop in a racer and just be like, I'm drunk. I was like, look, I can drunk drive. That's fine. It's fine.
Oh,
But
dude,
no,
we used
don't
to
do
do
that.
4-player straight up N64 Mario Kart back in college.
Good
You
old
were the
days.
last person. You had to take a shot every race. If you lost the whole time, you had to hand off your controller. Oh, it was awesome.
That is
Solid DUI cart. Every time you fell off the road, you had to drink your drink until they dropped you back. Rainbow Road was amazing in that game.
I was okay with the plot. I wasn't expecting much out of the plot, to be honest. I actually thought like, this movie's going to be kind of weird because this is supposed to be Super Mario Brothers, and you separate those two. And so I thought like, oh my God, Mario's going to save Luigi, and Luigi's not going to do anything. He's just going to be like this useless kid that, that's all that he does.
Kind of
And
Luigi's
then,
move.
yeah. Well, debatable. I mean, I like Luigi and Mario too, so that's why I'm kind of partial to his little. You know what I would have loved to see, and I didn't see it, is his little delayed flutter kick as he jumps. That would have
They
been
got
pretty sweet.
they got the floating princess in. That was
Yeah,
such a great.
that was
Yes.
pretty cool. Um, But yeah, I will say, so I'm enjoying this way more than the 1993 Mario. The music, I mean, there's just Mario music all throughout, which is fantastic.
Well, there's so
And
many versions of it, and I think they touched them all, man.
they didn't do Mario 2 though. They did not do Mario 2. I don't remember hearing Mario 2.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
But
I'd have to watch it
something
again.
something that I did really enjoy, and that is probably one of the best utilizations of uh Holding Out for a Hero. Was that the name of the song? The Bonnie Tyler song?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And gosh, I mean, it was good in Shazam, the second Shazam, but it's even better on this, to where it's like just fun, playful Nintendo. And really, you put that song into any action montage, it's fucking gold. So, Bonnie Tyler, I salute you.
I've got to say that the thing that shocked me the most about this movie and made me by far the happiest was them utilizing Jack Black as a musical artist.
Yeah.
When he's sitting there and he's like, "Come talk to me," and he just starts going, "Buttum, buttum, buttum." I'm just like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" And did you know that the song he sings in this movie is 100% Oscar eligible?
That's hilarious. It should be, because
It
it's so
needs a
funny.
nomination. I am starting the petition now that the Peaches song needs an Oscar nom.
My kids were just laughing so hard throughout the movie. There's that moment where it's just like a good family moment during a movie where you all look at each other either in surprise, shock, but this is just hilarious when everyone's just laughing and smiling at each other. It's like, this is what a family movie's about. When you got Jack Black singing about ass, essentially. and, and
My
there he
wife
is.
leaned over to me and was like, "I can't believe how much I like this," because she's not a huge like Jack Black fan in general in movies. Like,
Yeah, neither am
not
I.
a fan of Jack Black. And I looked at her and said, "Man, this is gonna really change the way I feel about Fuck Her Gently."
Oh man, I forgot about that song. So good. I wasn't a big fan of like Tenacious
Oh,
D
I loved me
when
some Tenacious D. One of the few groups that I really enjoy that I've never seen in concert. Tenacious D and Weird Al.
they've got they've got talent. They have like just genuine talent. I just didn't get it because I was like, are these guys serious? Are they trying to be like rock stars, but it's just so goofy? And so it just wasn't my bag. But as I got older, I did enjoy it. And yes, F Her Gently was one of my favorites
Oh,
just to put on.
that is 100% a song that I'll put in at any piano bar and request at any like open mic night to see if somebody will play it. I got an Irish band on St. Patrick's Day to play it one year.
Nice.
But yeah, that is by far one of my favorite. That is probably my second favorite song to request of a live band other than Freebird.
That guy is so talented and he's so funny. But the thing that I really like about Jack Black, even though I'm not like the hugest fan, is that he doesn't know how to not give his all. So if he's in something, you're going to get Jack Black and you're going to get his full effort, whether you like him or not. And that's what I like about it. You know, you got that passion, good. You've got the commitment for it.
And I think that Jack Blackness, though he does give the same effort and energy in every role, I think translates enough to where he's not playing the same character. He's playing a different character, but as Jack Black.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. And the funny thing with this movie is that my son, who's a big fan of Goosebumps, when Jack Black was talking on the screen, he's like, he sounds like R.L. Stein from Goosebumps. I was like, oh yeah, because that's him, buddy. That's so it's funny to hear his observant opinions about stuff and his observation on what's going down with everything. So like the Peaches song was fantastic and it was a good family moment and everyone in the theater. I think we laughed. My family laughed the hardest at that, but it's a good time. Good time so far.
Yeah. That is a soundtrack that if they release it in the like, I couldn't find it on Spotify because there's so many like random Mario playlists, but like just that music, I was just like, oh, joy the whole movie.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. And they had the different variations of the Mario tunes. So it wasn't just, like flat out, here's the tune, enjoy it. You better like it. No, they had nice orchestral variations of everything. And believe it's Brian Tyler who did the music for this. And he's done a bunch of stuff too, like the Fast and Furious movies, Avengers: Age of Ultron. He's done a lot of musical scoring for a lot of movies. So kudos to him. Like he, of course, he had a lot of Nintendo source material to sample from, but I think he did it expertly. And the kid in me, the 1980s Nintendo playing kid, is having fun and enjoying that little nostalgia trip.
I mean, so much to choose from, but done so well. Like you can't complain about it. It was just so like the whole movie. I'm just thinking, if Dan complains about the music in this movie, I don't know what to fucking do. I
This
don't
is the
even know.
perfect thing for the music, especially after Alan Silvestri took a big shit on 93 Mario. Like that was good music. It just the movie sucked.
Yeah,
So when the movie sucks, the music can't elevate it. So you can't elevate shit from the toilet. It's still shit. So Alan Silvestri, you got a raw deal, but Brian Tyler, kudos to you. You not only had fun with that music, but you probably made a lot of grown men and grown women happy who used to play Nintendo and or maybe still play Nintendo and enjoy those Mario games.
yeah. No, it was good times. It's such good times. Um, so it sounded like you picked up a bunch on the Easter eggs during the movie, and it really did tickle your nostalgia bone, if you will. Um, did you stay for the two after credit scenes?
I stayed for one because after the Jack Black Peaches song, I was like, I'm good. I'm good. I can go home. I did end up seeing the second end credit scene with the Yoshi egg, but I was fine not waiting around another 3 minutes, 4 minutes to watch that.
Yeah, I definitely got my son to wait around for that little smidgen, but the
Impressive.
yeah, it was we walked close to the door and we're hovering. It wasn't an
Let me
in-seat situation.
let me ask you this: out of all the times that you go to the movies, and do you look to see if there's an end credit scene before you go to the movie theater, or does the movie end and then you go to your phone and try like, does Super Mario have an end credit scene?
So I looked this one up beforehand, but there are some like Ghostbusters where I was like, this has to have more. Like
So you just have a
there's
feeling in
certain
the waiting
movies you're
room.
just like, this doesn't have an end credit scene, like Top Gun. You're just like, yeah, I'm good. But like most of the movies we see in the theater are Marvel, so you know it's coming, so you wait.
Yeah.
Um, I don't remember the last other than Top Gun, right? I'm struggling to think of the last non-Marvel movie I went to the theater for.
Mm. I mean, I even waited for the end credits for John Wick because I knew for John Wick 4, I knew that something's gonna happen here, and sure as shit, it did. I'm glad I stuck around.
It's is it crazy to think that something that never happened before, like the Iron Man under Iron Man, it didn't happen before Iron Man,
I'm
and
sure
I
there
didn't
was
even see
some
him in the first
there
Iron Man because I left.
there were some movies that had like post credit scenes, but like nothing ever came of it. I
Yeah,
mean, like Ferris Bueller. after credits.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, not too many of them. I mean, now it's like it's enough for people to Google and create sites. Does John Wick 4 have an
Yeah.
end credit scene? Like, yeah, obviously, yeah. So it's pretty popular now and it's expected. I'm actually kind of bummed when I don't see. Still there? Hello, hello.
Can
There
you
you
hear me
are.
now?
I can hear you.
Oh, my internet connection is unstable.
It's all right.
Let's put a bow on it while we can. So yeah, I get you on the after credit scene, and luckily this one gave you a few, and even gave us the idea that even though they had Yoshi's in the movie during the great Mario Kart montage, they still showed Yoshi in the real world, which is something that happened in the first Mario movie too. But I've got a feeling if they release this one, it'll be much better.
I'm curious. So do you have any predictions for the next one?
No, none.
I mean,
Because
they did so much stuff from the games in
yeah,
this movie. Now, granted, I haven't played all the games. I probably haven't even scratched the surface of, because when you were listing off those games like Super Mario Galaxy, Super
Mhm.
Mario Universe, whatever the fuck you're talking about,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I've never played any of those. You probably could have made up a name and I would have been like, oh, there's Mario about that. But it is so heavy with what they've done in this movie. Not to say they can't top it. I just don't know what they can do because my Mario knowledge is so limited. I
Yeah.
don't know what. If anything, it wouldn't hit that same nostalgia funny bone, and I would just be like, okay, that was an okay movie, but there's so many different references that I'm not familiar with.
Yeah. I mean, they did blend the plot a lot, like the Bowser marrying Peach plot was from the newest Mario on Switch.
Mm.
So Mario Odyssey. So I think that there's other big bads in different Mario movies, right? Like Koopa wasn't always the bad guy, but he kind of was in most cases, right? They could bring out his kids and play that back, like do the plot of Super Mario World, like the SNES game. But
I think you go, if I were to guess, I think you go straight into Wario and Waluigi,
yeah,
and you have that as like the head to head, or you do like a flat out Mario Kart Grand Prix, and just like everything revolves around them racing.
or you
Like,
do a Donkey Kong movie because they had Diddy Kong. Like those Donkey Kong Country games are pretty
they are fun.
intense from a story perspective.
They're fun. Yeah. Maybe, maybe.
I
But
As much as I want them to, and I don't think they will, I'm all on the Legend of Zelda bandwagon. Definitely my favorite Nintendo franchise. Like, let's go do a Zelda movie. They've been talking about it forever. They've been talking about it as a TV series, but I think that Zelda has done almost too much of its own world building to pull off a movie that'll be solid.
do you want, if you were to make that happen, do you want it as a live action or animated?
I want somebody good to do it. I'm less concerned about how they do it and just want them to do a good job, if that makes sense. Like everybody's like Castlevania animated was great on Netflix. It was amazing. And then they did The Witcher in person and it was just as amazing.
Was The Witcher a video game?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, I thought it was a
And
book.
it was like, no, it was like 3 Witcher games
Hmm.
beforehand. So yeah, it was based on a game.
Okay.
So I mean, they've done a lot. They could do a lot there, right? It's not as easy to say as like a Red Dead Redemption, which I'm like, you do that as an in-person, or a Fallout, you do that as live. Like Zelda has cartoony games and like games like Breath of the Wild, which could very easily be done as, scale of a Marvel movie. But
Mhm.
I don't know. I want it to be good as opposed to caring about the format of it. But I do
Okay.
think that many of the other, and I don't know if it is as cartoony and fun as Illumination would make it. You know what I mean?
I wanted to talk about this because and I was sitting in the movie theater really just studying the whole frame by frame film, and I was so impressed with the animation, because there are times where it just looks like it is a couple of animated characters in the real world. The attention to detail in some of the sewer scenes, and even during like the Mushroom Kingdom, it just looked so damn real. The only time I ever thought that, holy shit, for an animated movie, this looks like real life, is Toy Story 3 and 4. 4 was really good. It looked like it was in the real world, and there just happened to be some toys walking around. And yeah, I was super impressed. So Illumination, like, geez, they are stepping it up. I mean, yeah, the Minions movies, I don't think of them having like cinematic, really good attention to detail. This one was freaking spot on. It was good.
I mean, the Minions movies are all amazing, right? And then Sing did a lot with textures,
Yeah.
but yeah, I agree. Like the movie had the level of detail that gave respect to the Mario stuff that you see. I mean, even to the point where when you're going through the castle, you see all of the paintings from Mario 64. Like, so fun. So fun. And they really did do I thought a much better job than I thought they would. I thought it
Yeah.
would be more cartoony.
Yeah. I mean, that's all I expected was just cartoon. I didn't expect attention to detail in the blades of grass and the sky and stuff. Like, that was pretty impressive for someone who, I wholeheartedly admit that I am not like a huge animation fan. I'm not that very much into kid movies, but I can definitely respect the time that they put into the animation and the background, the foreground, the art of this movie. But while we're talking about this movie, I think there's really only one more question to ask about everything. Mark, can you do this all day?
So while I did enjoy this movie, there were some levels of disappointment for me. There are two things that stuck out as being disappointing. One, that the star was just a regular star. Like, that was lame. It needed to be like a Mario Party star. What are you doing? And their use of the same song from Guardians of the Galaxy, Mr. Blue
Mm,
Sky.
yeah,
I was like, no, not not the best use of this. This reminds me that Chris Pratt's in this movie. But even with those two levels of disappointment, this will be a first day on streaming purchase. So I can and will do this movie all day. I plan to make this one of my son's favorite movies, because that's what you do as a parent with the things that you find nostalgic. You force your kids to like them.
yes. You force your will on your kids.
That's it,
No
buddy.
ifs, ands, or buts.
That's it. He's gonna sing that Peaches song all day long. Speaking of that Peaches song and singing it, Dan, is that going to be something that you're adding to your playlist? Can you do this movie all day and can you sing the Peaches song?
So I will say that I went into this movie not with no expectations, but I already thought, well, hey, this has to be better than Super Mario 1993, because that movie was straight up ass.
It's called classic. It is
No,
number 2 in overall sales on Amazon right now, with Mario being number one.
Well, that's a shame. But I will say that there were some points in this movie that I was a little bit hesitant about where they were going with the plot. Now, I would then stop myself and think, like, am I really concerned about the plot of this movie? No, I'm really not. But the movie lover in me is trying to point out some things to where it's like, it's okay. I don't want it to be like a prerequisite for an animated movie that, like, don't worry about the plot. Just enjoy the animation, enjoy the humor, enjoy the fun, have a good ride. I don't want to have that type of mentality going into a movie. I want to make sure there's substance, there's good quality characters in there. The voice actors are believable because there are some shitty voice actors. I mean, go watch Marvel's What If on Disney Plus. There's some pretty horseshit voice acting from the real people that are in the live action movies. It just doesn't blend in for voice acting for them. But this movie was pretty solid, and I was surprised at how much fun I had. I enjoyed the music, both the Mario scores and the popular music that was used. And God, Jack Black was fucking hilarious. But Anya Taylor-Joy, definitely the superstar of that movie. She can go ahead and voice Peach for the rest of Nintendo's movie life. I mean, as far as I'm concerned. But Chris Pratt, he did fine. I didn't dislike him. He was okay. Actually, no, not just okay. I thought it was good. It was good. I thought they tackled it very well. Charlie Day, once again, he was Charlie Day. But I will say I'm not 100% dead set on saying this movie's great. It's a good time. But I will say it's a good enough time to tickle the nostalgia funny bone, have some good quality voice acting. I just had a good time overall with the animation, the good story overall. And so, yeah, I could do this all day.
That's a first that I think we both liked a new movie that much.
We are children of the Nintendo era.
We are. We're the target audience for this. And they hope that we force our children to like it. So I'm just buying in wholeheartedly. Here's the real question. How many Oscars does this movie bring home?
If it does get a nomination for the Peaches song, I hope it's just that one. I hope it's just one.
It's already going to win Best Animated Feature. That's happening. That's over.
You think so?
Oh, what else is going to beat it?
I don't
Pixar
know.
with the fire in the water? No. Like, what other animated movies are coming out this year?
Oh, does Avatar count?
Should.
I mean, it is, right? It's like 100% animated. Like, okay, maybe not 100, but 95, I would say 95%.
I'm trying to think of so when I look at what's coming out this movie or this year that could be animated, right? And it's just a quick Google. Avatar did come up on the list. Little Mermaid, but that's the live action version. We're fine. Elemental, which will probably get a nom. There's a new Trolls movie. I saw the preview during the next one or during the movie. Wish, which is another, I think, Pixar-ish movie.
Pixar has to step its
Walt
game up
Disney.
because Illumination was fucking rocking it in this movie.
Dude, they were. There's a Ninja Turtles movie that's going to be animated, I believe.
And then Spider-Verse.
Oh, Spider-Verse. But the last Spider-Verse got the win. So I think Mario takes this one.
I'm wondering if they might give it to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because it's basically taking a page out of Spider-Verse's book, making kind of a gritty looking animation style.
I think that, I don't know. I'm hoping for 2, but I'm going to say at least 1, either best animated or best song. Because what's going to win? Little Mermaid again? Like, come on. What part of your world? They changed the lyrics.
Yeah, well, it's what was it that they were talking about? They were changing the lyrics in the Little Mermaid for it to
Kiss
be
the Girl song.
consensual. Yeah, consensual. now.
Yeah, for consent. I was like, wow.
Oh man.
They really fucked us over, man. We the whole I respect consent in a big bad way. They did not, I was not taught that by the cartoons of my time. Pepe Le
Back
Pew
in the
didn't get consent.
90s. Yeah, back in the 90s, you just did it.
I forget
don't ask
forget
for
what
permission.
show it was or what movie. It's just like Pepe takes it. I think that was Chris Rock, actually. man.
Well, we got two people that say that they can do this movie all day. This has been a fun episode, and we hope you enjoy a little bit of nostalgia and go see this movie. And you probably have if you've listened to us for this long. But tune in next time for our next episode. But until then, I'm Dan, the part-time Avenger. That's Mark, the resident Jedi.
Like, subscribe, tell us what your favorite Mario game is. And if you think that this movie was terrible, keep that shit to yourself because you're wrong.
We'll see you next time, everyone.